Alright YouTube, this is 2 Cent back with my 2 cents on OCTOPATH TRAVELER, and I know we've already had a video out this morning, but we got some news on the current Collab debacle going on, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. So let's get all the information out there, and then you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section. Alright, so in case you've been living under a rock, here's kind of a picture we've seen floating around on Reddit, on Twitter, on the Discord, just about everywhere I go I see this image. Also a lot of times with a nice little meme attached to it about being, you know, the aspect of wealth or whatever for the game and referring to the developers. And rightfully so, we can see that this similar step up was in JP, but did not have a paid version to it. It was just for free regular gems. Whatever we want to call it, the pity, the sparking, was only at 100 rather than at 200. And so it was much easier for the free-to-play player to be able to guarantee getting Adele with 3,000 gems. As well as that is step 5 there. When you got to it, you had a 50% chance to get the on-banner character, in this case Adele, and on the global side you have a 15% chance. So this is obviously a really negative experience for us going to the collab. JP also got additional rubies leading up to the collab that we didn't get. And then we had the debacle yesterday about the login rewards. We realized that they weren't the same as even what they told us that were going to be coming out. So we've had quite a bit of a stir up in the community, and I think rightfully so, to say, hey, can you explain what the difference is? Because it really just feels like you're trying to rake, you know, global for some additional cash in the, you know, honestly, I've hardly looked at the shop, but I know everybody has told me that the prices are way too high, and I agree. I that's why I don't pay for anything in this game. I think the prices are too high, at least for me, my budget, and my thought on how worth it is. But you guys probably know my position by now, unless this is your first time at the channel, that I feel like the game's actually what I would call free-to-play friendly, in the aspect that you can complete the content without purchasing characters or purchasing rubies. And so in that way, I've never felt like I really needed to kind of put money into the game. And my thought was, I'm just going to save, and I know there's going to be some characters that they're the must-haves for me because I just like them as characters, not necessarily for the meta. Adele was one of those, and so I was quite disappointed when I logged in and found that even with the 3,600 gems that I had been saving up since the beginning of this game, I couldn't even guarantee myself to be able to get her. So that was really disappointing, and I can see where a lot of people would be enraged from that. So I did end up summoning just on the regular banner with my free-to-play gems and managed to pick up a copy of her. So that's great, but not everybody's going to be that lucky. I could have wasted everything, and I think I only really had to spend 1,500 gems, so super lucky there. However, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Let's continue on and see what fixes they have brought to us, because we did get an in-game notice today detailing that. Alright, so when we look at our news here, let's get the easy one out of the way. It talks about addressing the discrepancies in what they told us they were going to send us and what they have actually sent us. And so here they identify what it is that they gave us that were delivered wrong and the intended item. This does make a difference because as we're doing our otherworldly hunts and leveling up Elvis, you need these materials to be able to use over to the exchange shop to get the seals that you need to make him from 3-star to 4-star and 4-star to 5-star. So these are really important items at the end of the day, and what they were giving us was a lot less beneficial than what they were supposed to be giving us. So they do say that this is going to be addressed, and that they have a distribution plan to give us those items. So that in itself, that's good. Hey, that's fine. I'm glad you got that out of the way, because you told us you were going to do it, so glad you're actually doing it. So really, we just got a little bit extra because we get to keep the login rewards that weren't the right one. So there's that piece of it. Okay, now let's go into the step up sort of update here. So they basically said, hey, we've heard your feedback regarding this banner, and we value your honesty, and we have discussed how to address your concerns. Okay. In particular, we understand that this is basically different from the global version, and so we're going to make some changes to the upcoming updates for our version here in global. And this is what's going to be adjusted. It's going to be Idea and Ane's banner are going to be adjusted. What I don't like here, right off the cuff, when we're looking at this, is the Bravely Default crossover guidance for Adele has already been released. Please understand we are unfortunately unable to comply or apply the same changes to it. So I understand that message in general. That banner's already out there. We can't like rip it out and put, you know, maybe a new one in or something like that. Granted, I think you probably could. I just think you probably aren't going to. This banner lasts all the way to the end of the month. You can't figure out how to add in a banner. You can. You just don't want to. I get it. You don't want to. But that doesn't mean you can't. So, adjustments to be made. Step 1 will be made free to perform. So we had heard about this in the live stream. That's the only information they had given out during that, was that on these next 2 step-ups, or next to, you know, banner characters, the first step on those step-ups would be free, but we didn't know the rest of the information here, which would that be free rubies will be able to be used alongside the paid ones. So now when we're doing those step-ups, you can use your free rubies, so it's not locked behind paid rubies. So this is honestly, if that's what they had come out with on this banner here, I think people would have been much happier. And we may have even overlooked the fact that the 50% versus the 15% on step 5, that might have gotten overlooked had you been able to use free rubies on this. Maybe still not the most fair, but might have been something that we wouldn't have been so upset about at that point. So the ruby distribution with here. Oh, actually, I missed this here. There will also be no limit to the number of rounds, so you can keep running it if you want. And they are updating the 50% in the 10 slot on that step 5. So they are changing it back to that. And then the number of bonus guide stones per step will be increased as well. So that's good. Now we're basically kind of getting what they had over there. I do believe, if you look there, it was, they could get 50 of the exchange per run of the step up. And so they would run it twice and get the 100 that they needed to exchange. So likewise here, we need 200. We get, I think 100 per step up here, like per run of the step up. And so when we run a step up twice, we'll get 200. So it should be exactly the same as far as that piece goes. And so I'm pretty happy about that when it comes to Idea and Ane's, which I don't know at this moment if I'm going to roll for them or anything like that. So we'll kind of have to wait and see. I know a lot of people, this whole collab has been kind of, a mess, so a lot of people are just staying away from it altogether. Now, let's see what the ruby distribution, this is basically, hey, this is what the apology is for the Adele banner, and to try to make the Adele banner right, okay? So at least that's what I feel like it is in my, in my thought here is, how are you making the current situation right? Understandably that the future ones are going to be okay, but what would make this banner right? And it says, an apology for all concerns that have been raised. We'll be distributing the following: just 300 rubies. And I think this is going to, be a little bit of a sour note for a lot of people, because 300 doesn't help anybody to get a guaranteed Adele. It just isn't. I mean, if you gave us 300 paid, at least somebody could pull a couple steps on the paid, banner. But I don't know if you'd do that. But it feels like we could probably get a little bit more from this, and I don't want to be too greedy or too out there of it, and especially the fact that I already have the Adele myself, so it's not even going to benefit me much. But I really thought to kind of fix what was going on here, that you might hand out an Adele. That was the best thing that you could do. So I was like, well, maybe they're not going to do that, but maybe they could go in and reduce her pity from 200 to 100 for us. That way, the free-to-play players had more of an opportunity to basically be able to get the unit in the exact same amount of rubies that it would have taken had we had the right banner to begin with. So, I don't know. Let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. My kind of default setting for everything isn't anger, it's more of disappointment. And that's just been my, I'm just not a very angry person, so don't, misconstrue the fact that I'm not, in a rage mode for that. This isn't disappointing or a little bit of a letdown, and that I think we can do a little bit better here. But I also want to acknowledge the fact that they have apologized and they have done something, and this shouldn't be an issue on banners going forward. The real kind of test for me on this is, okay, we fixed Idea and Agnes, but are our next collabs going to be, the way the Adele banner was, or are they going to be like the changed banner? So, yet to be seen. We have no idea on that. Anyway, let me know what you're kind of feeling, thinking down in the comment section now that we kind of have this update. And that's been my 2 cents.